that. We're here to talk about smart calling because you and I have more than a few things in common. We have Omaha in common. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit, but really about the telephone. The telephone works. It's a wonderful tool.
Wait.
And I tell you, yeah, jump in, go.
Well, no, I read on the internet that the phone is dead. Didn't you see that?
And of course, because you read it on the internet, it's true.
Well, somebody called me. Somebody called me and told me, but.
Dude, here we go. This is art humor at its best.
We're already off the rails, aren't we? The process itself is not new. And for those people who are not familiar with it, smart calling is essentially knowing something about the people, the organizations, and the situations that we're calling into so that we can tailor and personalize and customize our message. So therefore, it's going to be relevant and interesting and cut through all the other noise. Gosh, what a novel concept, right? So as opposed to the, smile and dial, throw it up against the wall, give me more numbers, make me more calls, put in more activity. So that's what smart calling is all about. So really, since it first came out 10 years ago, first edition, second edition came out about 3 years after that. And now here we are 10 years after the original edition. The process, again, itself really hasn't changed. But what has changed is this. Hundreds of thousands of people worldwide are using the process. And every day I'm being contacted by people saying, hey, I did this, and this is what I said, and here's how it worked. And I would encourage people to send me their messaging, their scripts, their success stories. So I collected this huge, big file of all this stuff in basically every section. And when the publisher talked to me, we were just kicking around some ideas, and you know how publishers work. They want you to do a new book. And I wanted to do a revision of this book because I had so much I wanted to add from the people who are actually doing this and sharing their stories. Because I mean, I can talk all day long, but when you bring it to life with the people who are having success, that's when it's really of more interest to folks. So that's mostly what has changed. I've tweaked a few things. I put in a few more things of my own that I've come up with over the years, but mostly it's kind of like user generated. You know, it's kind of like a Wikipedia of smart calling wiki.
Well, that's what I like about it, because all the examples that you share, because I mean, it really is, it's an easy read. It's an easy read that then you can say, okay, let me start putting this into play. But I do want to take you to task on something. I do want to take you to task because you lay out a number of examples and you kind of build out that PVP, your possible value proposition. And you had some examples in there that are pretty long. What's the right length for a good PVP? And see, now we've teased the audience, so now they got to go buy the book because we really haven't told them all the meat behind PVP. We're just talking about it. See, so I'm helping you sell books. I'm doing my job. Help you sell books.
For the purpose of the interview here, let me just tell them what a PVP is. PVP stands for possible value proposition. And the reason I say possible is that I can't tell you what's going to be of value to you. Only you can derive value out of what I mentioned. Now I can have a hypothesis of value. That's a big word for me. I looked it up. And I could surmise what might be of value based on what I know about you and what I know about, you know, your industry. But I like to call it possible. And also I call it possible because I'm not going to come in saying, Mark, I will save you money. I will help you cut down your costs. I will help you increase your sales. Because if I make that declarative statement, as a prospect hearing that, you could sit back and say, wait a minute, you don't know anything about me. And therefore, I'm not going to come in with guns blazing. I'm going to say, hey, we might have something here that potentially could help you. It's worked for other people. I'd like to find out a little bit more about you. I'd like to ask a few questions to see if we've got the basis for further conversation. So that's a PVP. Now, getting back to what you're challenging me on is this. Are some of those things long? Well, here's the thing. Long is not defined by number of words. Too long is defined by too boring and not of interest. So for example,
hold it, back up the bus on that one. Back up the bus, because you just threw quite a few people under the bus right there. So run over them again. What did you just say?
Okay. So if I'm not interested in something, 3 words would be too long for me. Okay.
You are running over some more people there. Okay, good, good.
I'm not a fan of opera. Okay. So people that love it, hey, that's great. But if somebody wants to tell me about opera, my eyes are going to glaze over. Now, I am interested in a lot of things. I'm interested in cooking. I'm a competition barbecue cook. If somebody wants to talk to me about a new smoker or a new brisket recipe, I mean, I'm going to listen for a long time. So therefore, it's not too long. Now, when we're putting together an opening, one thing I always suggest, an opening / voicemail, because they both should be one and the same, I suggest that we just don't throw it together and we wing it. I suggest we follow a process, which I lay out, and then you go in and you really do microsurgery on it. And you ask yourself, is every word in here contributing to creating interest and minimizing resistance? If there's anything in there that could even hint at resistance, I always suggest taking it out. That's why I love to review openings and voicemails. And that's kind of one of my superpowers, because I can take somebody's voicemail or opening and I can look at it and I could maybe slice out a couple words here or there, as I do in the case study section of the book. And we can do addition by subtraction, or in some cases, I might add something to make it better.
Well, that's what I love about the work that you do, because you really do take those 2 or 3 sentences and you dissect it and you blow apart, in the book, almost every element of what people have traditionally been doing. But you also have a couple of good lines in there that you say it's got to fit your personality, it's got to fit your style. And you also make the comment in there that, just because it worked today doesn't mean it's going to work 6 months from now. And I totally agree with that, because the marketplace continues to change out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. Certainly now, as we're recording this, we're still in hopefully the tail end of the pandemic. And at the beginning of this, I put together a number of different openings, tweaking them for the environment that we're in. And that's why I suggest that people do their research and we customize and we tailor our messaging to fit the other person. And with that being said, even though every word's prepared, and I know you're a big believer in this too, you've got to make sure that it just sounds like the first time you ever said it. It sounds like a couple of guys like us just sitting here and just riffing and laughing. Well, not that we're laughing on a phone call, but well, I mean,
yeah, we are. Why not? Why not? Because that again sums up. It's got to be natural. It's got to be you coming through on the phone. And if it's not you, I always tell people, unless you're that crazy uncle or weird aunt in the family, use your personality, leverage it, let it come through.
That's funny. I might suggest that to some people, people who are just too stiff, pretend like you're crazy uncle just for a bit. That'd be a good exercise at a workshop. I'm going to write that down.
I don't know if you've ever been referred to as the crazy uncle, but I have on more than a few occasions. But hey, I'm in sales. What can I say?
I'm an only child, so I don't have brothers or sisters, so I don't have nieces or nephews. So.
There's a reason you were the only child. No, I won't.
Although I have to.
See, we are going off the rails for the 19th time here in this short video. Hey, we should probably wrap this up. So anyway, smart calling, because first of all, spell your name for not A-R-T. We can figure out that. Spell your last name.
S-O-B-C-Z-A-K. Typically, I'll say S-O-B-C-Z-A-K. And but you know what SOB stands for? South Omaha boy.
Ooh, because that is a connection we have. I am in Omaha, but Art has left the homestead. Smart calling. Where do people get the book? Where do people find out more about you?
Get the book at the book page, because the book has its own website, and that is smart-calling.com, smart hyphen, whatever you want to call that thing, .com. And then you can buy it there through your retailer of choice. I don't sell it, but the reason you want to get it there is that there's another button where you can get the companion training resource library, which if I had to sell this, Mark, I would sell it for easily over a couple $100. So you get that free by getting the book. And then if you just want more free information, go to Smart Calling, no dash, smartcalling.com. And everything else you want to know about me is there as well, including contact information.
And again, you need to get on your email list because you send out some priceless emails. They are funny. They are hysterical. How you get into rants at various times. I mean, I can always count on you for a good laugh. Oh, it's good. So anyway.
I like to have fun, as hopefully the audience can see. So do you.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, Art Subject, who we've been talking to, author of Smart Calling, third edition. That means the book's good. You got to buy it.